Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to experience one of the most prestigious events in Caribbean radio, television, and print. Coming to you from the breathtaking Naya Resort in Placencia, Belize. And brought to you by the Caribbean Broadcasting Union and Great Belize Productions Limited. We are excited to present the opening ceremony of the 55th Annual General Assembly of the Caribbean Broadcasting Union. Enjoy the show.
Senators, President of CBU, Dr. Claire Grant, welcome to Belize. Secretary General of CBU, Ms. Sonia Gill, also welcome to Belize. Chairpersons of surrounding village councils, members of the Caribbean Broadcasting Union, visiting journalists, delegates, and invited guests. A warm welcome to everyone at this assembly and those of you joining us via our broadcast and stream on Channel 5 Belize. We also warmly welcome viewers from Carib Vision, which is retransmitting this signal and reaches the tri-state area of United States, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, as well as the provinces of Ontario and Quebec in Canada and 22 islands of the Caribbean. Additionally, a special welcome goes out to viewers tuning in through UETV, radio listeners on NBC Radio in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and those watching our live stream via Healthy Caribbean Coalition's social media pages. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we pay respect for each member country and territory of the CBU represented here this evening with the Parade of Flags. The flags are being paraded by members of our Belize Coast Guard. Thereafter, please stand for the national anthem of Belize. At this time, can we please stand for the national anthem of Belize? Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. Also, thank you to the members of our Belize Coast Guard as well. A special acknowledgement also goes out to Los Hijos del West, who journeyed all the way from Benque del Carmen and Benque Viejo del Carmen. And if you don't know where that is, because I do understand that we have some guests here with us, that's about 3 hours away from Belize City in the western part of our country. Also on stage was the Urau drumming group, and both of these performers that you heard, you will be expecting later on in the show as well. The Caribbean Broadcasting Union is an influential nonprofit association representing public service and commercial broadcasters in the Caribbean, with a reach of over 4.8 million people in the region. Since its inception in 1970, the CBU has been dedicated to capacity building, training, and sharing live and pre-produced programming. It also focuses on media sector advocacy and support and promoting communication and information rights. As a regional institution, it is crucial in facilitating discussions and analysis to inform policy formulation on significant integration issues. The Caribbean Broadcasting Union has successfully organized the General Assembly since 1971, and we are thrilled to be hosting the 55th edition this year in Belize. I don't want to promise you guys, but it might be the best one yet. So to officially welcome you in true Belizean fashion and also continuing your cultural experience that I understand you guys have been enjoying for the past couple days, we invite to the stage the Urao drumming group, coming all the way from the city of Belmopan, our country's capital. However, their sound comes from the southernmost part of our country. So you might also be feeling a little bit of you might want to get up and dance. So we want to invite them over. Please give them a round of applause. Now that was a treat, even for us here in Belize. Wow, that was fantastic, guys. Let's give a second round of applause for the Urawu drumming group coming from Belmopan City. And just to give you a little bit of a lesson here, this isn't on the script, but we oftentimes refer to Belize as a melting pot of culture. Now, guys, what I want you to know is that there was just one of the ingredients in that melting pot of culture that we have here in Belize. We are filled with so many ethnicities, such rich history, and I'm just hoping that a little bit of the time that you spend here in Belize, you're able to learn a bit more about that. I also want to inform our viewers and those interested in different parts of the region to stream this opening ceremony as well. The ZIZ Broadcasting in St. Kitts and Nevis, you can also access the opening ceremony there. Antigua and Barbuda Broadcasting Services, Jamaica News Network, Grenada Broadcasting Network, CCN TV6 in Trinidad, WESN in Trinidad, again UETV, NBC Radio in Grenada, and Caribvision. If I butchered any of those titles, please forgive me. We move into the rest of our program. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Claire Grant, the esteemed president of the Caribbean Broadcasting Union, who will be delivering the president's address. Dr. Grant has been at the helm of the union since 2021, bringing her expertise and vision to the organization. In addition to her role as president, Dr. Grant holds the position of deputy CEO at RJR Gleaner Communications Group. Ladies and gentlemen, CBU President, Dr. Claire Grant.
Good evening, all. First, I must say it is my first time in Belize. Never been here before. Have gone to university with people that were from Belize, and I was always interested in knowing what this part of the region was like, and it has not disappointed so far. So I just like to say I feel the warmth. But more importantly, I see a side of the Caribbean that is very different from what I'm used to. A different type of, for want of a better word, humanity, I might say. And it's very rich, and I'm really and truly, I'm very happy to have had this experience in this way. And sometimes, you know, we seek to get tourists from faraway places, but I think that people in the region would really find this experience very exciting. So I'd like to start properly now. Mr. Prime Minister John Bracino, CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett, members of the Cabinet and the Government of Belize, members of the Belize Judiciary, Senator Janelle Shonararo, I believe is also here, Dr. Colin Young, Executive Director for the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, Mr. Christian Porter, CEO of the Public Media Alliance, Dr. Cleveland Slam, Communications Director of the Nature Conservancy Caribbean Division, Dr. Paul Hector, Communications and Information Advisor for UNESCO and the Caribbean, Ms. Eloy Hoyes, Chair of the Caribbean Media Corporation, CMC, Vice President and other directors of the CBU Board, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, members of CBU, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen of the media. Yes, I am truly pleased to be here in Belize for the very first time, but it's not the first time for the CBU. CBU has been here twice before. I mean, in 55 years, we have got to have gone around. And this is really important because we carry this particular activity around the region so that everybody can experience what it is to be a part of this union. It is a privilege to experience the Caribbean in Central America. I have done Suriname, I have done Ghana, now I've done Belize. It feels like I've just completed the parts of that puzzle. And yesterday we did the delegates tour, and I really have to say thanks very much to Director Marlene, has made this quite an exciting experience. And that was hosted by the Belize Tourism Board, and it was a remarkable experience. We do chocolate in Jamaica too, but not quite the way you do it. We have spice in Jamaica too, and I've been to Grenada, but it's not quite the way you do it. And certainly the most exciting part of the journey for me, when I was at university, I majored in history. It was history and social sciences. I did history in high school, and we did a tour that I learned so much, and it was actually bringing to life things that you just had read about as far as Mayan culture is concerned, and everything to do with this part of the Caribbean. I cannot express in words just how rich an experience it was to feel, to touch, to see these things that we have been reading about, and now to see that, you know, it's something real. Also very important because we watch National Geographic and these other things, but to actually be here to touch and see these things live made a remarkable impression on me. And as I consider CBU's own journey since the 54th Assembly, which was in Antigua and Barbuda, and just to say, I'm sure this will be the best, as last year was the best. And Tobago was the best. So, Anthony, where are you? Okay, shh, note to come. But it is really, as I landed, and you all have some remarkable tour guides, or the people who drive you around, they really make sure that you know everything about the country, and it's not rehearsed. You know, you can feel that it's coming from the essence of the person. Like their driver, I think his name was Sendi. And Sendi said something that just struck me when he spoke about the fact that there are so many parts of the country that are protected. You know, you just can't go around burning down trees and cutting down trees, and that just struck me, because maybe people in Belize don't know that that's not like, everywhere in the Caribbean is not like that, right? The fact that you have, by law, protected your environment with policy is not something that is common across the region. And I'm praying to you all, do not take it for granted, one. Also, do not allow others to influence you changing that position. Because as I walk around this particular property, and I'm aware of how hot it is where I'm coming from, and I understand that part of what we're feeling in the climate here has so much to do with the vegetation and the ponds and the rivers and everything that is allowed to be in its natural state. So I'm asking the people of Belize, do not take this for granted. And again, you will at some point, I'm sure, come up against the dilemma of development versus the environment. And I am comfortable in believing that Belize will make the right choice. The Caribbean media sector has been grappling with major technological developments in recent years, and we have seen major steps at the regional and international level in the past 12 months. For many of our members, especially in Jamaica, my home, Trinidad and Tobago, and right here in Belize, digital transition is now at our doorstep. I have Jamaica has been first, but it is really important to note this is not something that we think is going to happen. It must happen. Analog transmission is past life. They no longer make material for analog transmitters. So a digital transmission transition is inevitable. But most importantly, for broadcasters, it is going to turn on a completely new world for you. And so I'm encouraging Belize. Director Marlene and I have had many conversations as we are ahead, and we're encouraging the rest of the region to embrace this change, because it is not just a change for the industry, but it is potentially a dramatic change for our people. But we're encouraging policymakers to act in a timely manner to ensure that the correct enabling environment is in place to help domestic media services make the shift with a feasible business model in place. And this is very important. It's not something to be embarked on lightly. There are a lot of pieces that have to come together. We actually can't wait for all the pieces to come together before we make the move. But while we are moving ahead, it is important that all of the players involved make the correct decisions to enable the industry so that it can empower and enable the people. Radio remains the most popular medium in the Caribbean, and we note the efforts in the late 2023 and early 2024 by vehicle manufacturers to remove FM radios. Yes, if you hadn't heard, there was a plan afoot to remove FM radios from cars. By jointly advocating with our colleagues from around the world, we were able to stem what could have been disastrous for media houses and audiences they serve, as noted in the UNESCO World Radio Day announcement on February 13th of this year. There is a famous saying that the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. When we consider the challenges to independent journalism over the past 12 months, we accept the CBU's role as monitor and advocate for this fundamental pillar of democracy. And I will indicate that in small territories like ours, it is really, really, really important for us to respect and understand the importance of a democratic space and a democratic system. We were particularly concerned by the challenges to journalist safety, both physically and virtually, posed by troubling events during the period. On World Press Freedom Day on May 3rd, the CBU shone the light on our French CARICOM member Haiti and noted the tremendous difficulties faced by Haitian media, including the murders of colleagues. While in the English-speaking Caribbean, we're first to speak out about the shooting at a media house in my home, as well as the death of a journalist in separate incidents. And we took note of the disturbing viral attacks on journalists in Guyana. In line with the theme of this assembly, the CBU continued to place great emphasis over the past year on improving the entire region's resilience to natural hazards, especially those associated with climate change, which poses an existential threat to the Caribbean. And I probably needn't go further than say Hurricane Beryl. It hit a number of islands viciously, and then it glanced at another island, but hit sections of that island as viciously as it hit total islands. And in this case, I speak about Jamaica, where it's not understood just how damaging that hurricane was to sections of the island. And the scenes there are very similar to what we would have seen from the islands in the Eastern Caribbean that got full hits. So sections of Jamaica actually experienced category 4 winds. This is why the CBU is particularly grateful to the partners at the National Gas Company of Trinidad and Tobago, NGC, as well as 5 Cs, C. The Nature Conservancy Caribbean Division, the Partnership Initiative for Sustainable Land Management, and SADIE Consulting. All of these organizations supported the CBU strategy to incentivize the coverage of environmental content in radio, print, television, and digital media through this year's Caribbean Media Awards. And it's really important. We have to find a way to discuss these issues that mean more to our people, because the correct decisions have to be made now to preserve the future. And whatever is required to get that conversation being part of general public discourse among all generations is really important. Most of us sit here in this room, probably it's not our problem, but it is our problem because our children and their children are going to have to live in this space. I take the opportunity also to say thanks to Sagicor and the Caribbean Development Bank, Basic Needs Trust Fund, the Healthy Caribbean Coalition, and the Carry Secure project funded by USAID and implemented by the UNDP, who also collaborated with CBU as CMA category sponsors this year. The past 12 months have also seen an extension of the work in promoting knowledge and skills in coverage of environmental issues with our long-term partner, the UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction. The UNDRR, through the global project Media Saving Lives, has provided sterling support in capacity building. A lot of people don't know a lot of the work that the CBU does, but a lot of time is spent getting support in allowing us to be better at what we do, which is reporting and gathering news. Along with the more traditional workshop format of training, including an activity in partnership with UNESCO in February hosted by CBU member Carimac in Kingston, Jamaica, there have been other creative approaches. The UNDRR launched 2 co-production activities that bring together producers from around the world to collectively create content on disaster risk reduction. CBU is very proud of the contribution on sustainable tourism, which was launched during World Tourism Day forum conducted by the Caribbean Tourism Organization in September 2023. And as we speak, a producer from Trinidad and Tobago, member TTT, is in Bali, places I really want to go to, Indonesia, meeting with colleagues to plan a follow-up on a co-produced series. And this is very important. We here in the Caribbean speak about disaster risk and climate change, and we understand as we live and experience some of the things that are happening as the world is getting hotter, and we're feeling it. But we are not the only ones. So all across the world, there are communities very similar to us who have very similar stories. And it is really very important that we connect with these people, because we have to speak in a larger voice. They're experiencing the same things that we're experiencing. So these exploits of CBU, which basically pull together people from across the world that have the same story to when media entities themselves are victims of major weather events. 6 weeks ago, 3 of our members, as I indicated before, suffered from Hurricane Beryl. Recognizing its vital role in such situations, the CBU responded by ensuring comprehensive reporting of the effects, especially on the Grenadines. In partnership with the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, videographers, reporters, and social media specialists were deployed to St. Vincent and Grenada within 48 hours of the strike of Beryl with the rapid needs assessment teams. And our member in St. Vincent reached out with a request for assistance, given the major communication challenges it was experiencing. Again, through the support of SEDIMA and the CBU Secretariat, we were able to acquire and relay to Kingston a satellite-based equipment to provide this member national broadcasting corporation with a reliable communication system. Everyone knows how significant this would be for a country that has been hit by a hurricane if you've experienced what it is. But what I think was more importantly is important about what happened is that was an opportunity for us to actually do what we are supposed to do as a union. That's why we're here. We're here to serve our members. And in times like these is when the support is required, and I am really proud of the team that we were in a position to make that immediate response for our member. I pause here to note that CBU's member coverage of and partnership with this lead Caribbean agency is just a small demonstration of how much media positive attention is placed on the achievements of the community. It just goes to show that maybe this needs to be recognized by the political directorate in the region. Yes, it is a clap moment. I will expand on this because the media is this amazing entity that's called the media that we refer to when we want to quarrel about something, because the media didn't and the media should have, and why didn't the media do? But there are times when the media does do and you don't hear, well, the media did. So we are really reaching out to all of the people that partner with what we need to do. We are not existing by ourselves. The media exists for the region. It exists for the people. Without the people, there is no media. But the media also understands its role in ensuring that the people can grow, they can develop, they can be better than what they are. And for that reason, we ask all of the people who can support, to all the people who think about things that they would want to do, come and talk to us. Because our role is to make this community better and stronger. Another tried and true partner, UNESCO. Yes. Also stepped up to support Caribbean media, appreciating that the devastating effects of catastrophic weather systems can leave a country without one of its most needed elements of relief and recovery, a functioning media system. CBU will express its deep appreciation to UNESCO here and again tomorrow for the deployment of an emergency radio equipment system known as, and this is really cute, Radio in a Box, to members in Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, and Turks and Caicos. And we're really looking forward to the expansion of that because of what it means to the region. What I've shared with you this evening briefly reports some of CBU's efforts, very briefly, with the generous support of regional and international partners to ensure the resilience of the region through the media sector. There is a lot more that we want to do. There's a lot more that we intend to do. There's a lot more that actually we have to do. For those of us who would have just finished watching the Olympics, oh yes, I'm from Jamaica, so I'm a bit sad. But no, not really, I'm not sad. I'm not sad at all because Jamaica has been a little spoiled. So we get 6 medals, including a gold medal, and people are quarreling. Undoubtedly the only country in the world that you get silver in the 100 meters and you're upset. But I think we really need to understand how important it was for us to watch the Olympics and see it through our eyes. We mustn't take that for granted. And the CBU is the anchor that created that difference in how we see the Olympics. The CBU through CMC would have been the first organization that acquired the rights, sent a team to Atlanta. It was Atlanta first. Or was it Sydney? Atlanta. And we covered it and were able to have people see the Olympics, hear the story through our voices. We take it for granted now, and I'm sure there's a whole generation that has no clue what it was like to suffer. Suffer it was, watching the Olympics, seeing your person win, and have to get the interview of the person who came last because you weren't there, right? And it really, really, really is something that we mustn't lose sight of. It's an example of the significance and the importance of media in the region in changing the perspective of our people. We look and we want to be what we see. If we don't see ourselves and we're not able to see how we can do things differently and better, then we will not aspire to be different and better. I tell people that West Indies cricket is suffering from not being on free-to-air TV, and people laugh, but it's a fact. It's a fact. So I used to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning watching cricket with my father and understood how important this experience was. So that doesn't happen anymore. And I mean, fortunately, Usain moved to track and field, but Usain Bolt wanted to be a cricketer, right? And I bring this up because it's really important as we look to the future in some of the things that we want to do, that we understand that CBU is going to be marching forward in letting everybody understand the importance of our people seeing themselves in our media. I have this platform to say we're eating American apples, peaches and plums, and American pears, because that's what we see on television. We don't see golden apples. We don't see jackfruit. We don't see, we call it naseberry, what you guys call it, sapodilla. We don't see those things on TV as a part of somebody's household that they pick it up in the kitchen in their basket and they eat it. That's subliminal marketing that changes cultures. It changes people's interpretation and impression of themselves. So these are some of the things that we are going to endeavor to support, to change the narrative around who we are as people so that we can see who we are as people. As I reflect on the theme of resilience in the context of this assembly, we invite you and our partners to accept the critical importance of the regional media sector. And in our board meeting today, we spoke about the business of media. And today, what I want you all to think about is we talk about the regional media sector often. We're industry. That is what we are. It's a business. It's an industry. It is something that is no different from people who are in engineering or people who are in medicine or people who are in anything else that you would call an industrial. Media is an industry as well. It has a really large ecosystem that can create millions of jobs. And in this world, in many different areas because of the digital explosion. And if we begin to understand the role of CBU in being a catalyst in the growth and the expansion of the regional media industry, we'll all get a sense of what can happen if we get the support and everybody rallies behind the CBU. We must survive, because if we do not survive, others will tell our story, others will mute our voices, and others will make us seem small and insignificant. And that is not something we are going to allow. That's not a road we are going to walk again, because we've done it once, and that was good. Don't need to do it again. We welcome you all to this, our 55th assembly. And I certainly look forward to engaging with everyone that is here in this really generous, lovely, warm environment of Belize. I don't know how to express to you guys. I had no clue what to expect when I came here. Belize is different from Suriname, and it's different from Guyana, and it just has this unique sweetness about it that I think I'm trying to find a piece of land to buy down here. I quite like the place. But thank you all very much for listening to me. And as I said, 55th Assembly, open now.
Thank you very much, Dr. Grant. Well, if you're interested in purchasing a piece of land, I know a lot of people would tell you Placense is a great place to be, but if you're looking to really chill out in the countryside, you can purchase a piece of land beside me in Boral Boom. All right. Boral Boom, right? See? Well, we're going to progress into the rest of the ceremony. I also want to make note that we are also streaming. Seemingly, I'm getting noticed every time I sit down where else we're streaming. We're also streaming on TTT in Trinidad and Tobago. As we continue with our program, though, we come to a poignant moment of reflection. As the union convenes for industry discussions over the next few days, we also take a moment to recognize those who have lost their lives along the way. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask for your help in observing a moment of silence as we look back at those we have lost over the past year. Let's give these legends a round of applause. May we continue to carry on their amazing legacy of passion, commitment, and sacrifice. Before we proceed to our guest speaker, we have a delightful cultural experience next up for you, in that of one of our Belizean top talents. Her name is Ernestine Carballo, and she will be performing a Creole medley.
Beautiful. Hello, microphone check. Beautiful good night to everyone. And I'm very happy to be here to entertain you all. They call me the Belizean Soca Queen. So yeah, I'll be doing 2 of 4 broke down music by our legendary Miss Leela Vernon, as giving back to her and Belize culture. All right.
When
Belize gal come out, then I come out fi play. When Belize gal the out, then the out fi party time away. Take your body to the ground, make your waist spinning round and round, dance to the rhythm of the rock song. It's carnival time again, we are dancing a sun and rain. Dance to the rhythm and the rock song. All the waist and I make one stroke. Wheel around I do a move. Jump up high like you want to fly. Raise a foot and kick and high. Did you wap, wap, wap and galang, did you wap, wap, wap. Wap and galang, did you wap, wap. Wap and galang, did you wap, wap, wap. Wap and galang, did you wap, wap. Wap and galang, did you wap, wap, wap. When Belize girl come out, then I come out fi play. Oh, then the out the party time away. Shake your body to the ground, make a waist spinning round and round. Dance to the rhythm and the rock song. It's carnival time again, we are dancing a sun or rain. Dance to the rhythm and the rock song. All the waist and I make one show. Wheel around where you do a move. Jump up high like you want to fly. Raise a foot and kick her high. I wanna know who say Creole no got no culture. Rhythm. Who say Creole no got no culture? I wanna who say Creole no got no pride? When they me bring we all the way past South Africa, and them land we on this Caribbean shore. They me bring the Congos and they even bring the Ashantis and Mandingo. I wanna who say Creole no got no history? I wanna who say Creole no got no identity? 20 to 50, 20 million Southwest Africa. We gone down in a slavery history. They will bring the Congos and they even bring the Ashantis and Mandingo. I want to know who say Creole no got no culture. I want to know who say Creole no got no pride. When they bring we all the way from Southwest Africa, and them land we on this Caribbean shore. They me bring the Congos and they even bring the Ashantis and Mandingo. Give me, 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 give me. You don't like it? You don't like what rock down music?
And the environment. I begin by extending heartfelt congratulations to your president, Dr. Grant, who has just been awarded the Order of Distinction, by the government of Jamaica for services to journalism, media, and communications. Congratulations too to the family of the late Honorable Oliver Clark, who will be inducted this evening into the CBU's Hall of Fame in recognition of his distinguished contribution to the media. Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather this evening, the memory of the record-breaking early season weather system named Beryl and its devastating extensive impact on several member states of the Caribbean community, forcing the postponement of the 43rd regular meeting of the conference, is fresh in our minds and will no doubt feature in discussions throughout the week. Deliberations on the aftermath of the hurricane were also high on the agenda during the rescheduled 47th meeting of the conference, which was held at the end of July in St. George's, Grenada. While there, I visited the island of Carriacou, where, along with President Ali of Guyana and the Prime Minister of Grenada, we were able to view firsthand the devastation caused by the hurricane. It was a sobering visit and a painful reminder of the urgency of the climate crisis facing the Caribbean region and other small island and low-lying coastal developing states, SIDS, which do not cause climate change, but which continue to bear the disproportionate and increasingly onerous burden of its consequences. Data from UNESCO show that 30.7 million people were displaced globally by natural disasters in 2020. In the Caribbean, the extensive destruction of our nations caused by the passage of hurricanes is a familiar refrain. In the last 10 years only, hurricanes such as Irma, Maria, Dorian, Ivan, and now Beryl have severely impacted the region. Coupled with this increase in adverse weather events are the other effects of climate change: warmer oceans, droughts, floods, salination of our aquifers from sea level rise, all of which undermine the sustainability of sectors such as agriculture and fisheries. The increasing cost of repeated replacement of critical infrastructure, such as roads and bridges, and restoration of essential economic services, such as electricity, water, telecommunications, and social services, such as health and education, erodes the socioeconomic gains which we have been making. Given rising global emissions, scientists expect the effects of natural disasters and sea level rise to worsen by 2050, putting the lives and livelihoods of Caribbean people even more at risk. CARICOM heads of government have been deliberate and unrelenting in their advocacy for urgent action by the large emitters to do what is necessary to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees, and for timely activation of the Loss and Damage Fund. This unified advocacy will continue, including at the 29th Conference of Parties of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, COP29, in Azerbaijan in November, where we will present a coordinated position on the climate crisis. I commend CBU for adding its voice to our advocacy by selecting this relevant and timely theme around which to center discussions at this assembly. Commendations are also due to the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, 5Cs, for its partnership with CBU over the past 2 years, which has resulted in a notable increase in the volume and the depth of content on climate change. This is important work, which deserves recognition and commendation, and I congratulate all who will receive awards in this regard at tomorrow's ceremony. The regional media have traditionally played a very active role in disseminating information on disaster preparedness and around major weather events. As we seek to amplify our call for climate justice, the CARICOM Secretariat is seeking to broaden its partnership with the regional media. You are ideally placed to present a platform for scientists activists, and policymakers to speak directly to the public, to package the impacts of climate change for public consumption, and to counter misinformation. We especially have to engage with our young people who stand to lose the most if the global community cannot find a way to do what is right to reduce carbon emissions. Critically, in the context of our vulnerable Caribbean region, our media must scrutinize international efforts to reduce carbon emissions and demand accountability for the negative effects of climate change on our small countries. What is true is that even if we, in the SIDS, do everything we can do to eliminate our already almost negligible carbon emissions, even as we continue to build our social and economic resilience, the inevitable warming of the oceans and sea level rise will continue to place our continued existence at risk unless the major carbon emitters do what is necessary to reduce their emissions and do so in time. There is indeed very little time left. Scientists are already telling us that we are at risk of losing the ability to keep global warming within the 1.5 degrees centigrade, which is essential to our survival as a civilization. Am I correct, Colin? Right. Earlier today, I participated in a constructive exchange of views with regional media practitioners on how we can more effectively collaborate on information sharing. Despite the proliferation of media channels and more cost-effective means of disseminating information, access to news of the services and programs being implemented as part of the regional integration process remains a challenge. In many cases, this is especially true for the most vulnerable among us. Our hope is that, going forward, we will balance the scale so that even as we are probed on matters on which we can do better, achievements, opportunities, and benefits are also publicized and shared. In this information age, access to digital technologies is a key driver of information dissemination, and digital media serve a crucial tool for driving change and development within societies. While the Caribbean has adopted transformative digital technologies in recent years, significant digital divides remain within and across the region. At the recent meeting of our heads of government in Grenada, the Prime Minister of Grenada, who is at this time CARICOM Chair, the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, who leads on science and technology, including information and communication, in the CARICOM Quasi-Cabinet, he launched the development of a strategy for regional digital resilience. This strategy will focus on digital integration, infrastructure and connectivity, workforce skills development, and the necessary policy and regulatory framework. Our expectation is that this strategic focus will help to equip the people of the region to participate robustly in initiatives to improve competitiveness, boost innovation and growth, build our resilience to cyber attacks and other risks. This is especially critical for young people as they prepare to lead the region. Importantly, today, August 12th, is the International Observance of Youth Day under the theme, From Clicks to Progress, Youth Digital Pathways for Sustainable Development, drawing attention to the pivotal role of young people in harnessing technology to advance sustainable development. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this year, CBU is marking its 54th anniversary. Its longevity and impact are due, in large measure, to the organization's responsiveness to the dynamics of the sphere within which it operates, exemplified, for example, by its development of a social media policy framework for the Caribbean. The CBU actively engages on the work of the Secretariat, including on the Council for Trade and Economic Development, or COTED, and as a member of CARICOM's ICT cluster of institutions, which are advancing the CARICOM single ICT space. We look forward to the continued robust participation of the organization and its membership in the important conversations about the digital future of the region. This includes raising awareness of the need for our countries to make the leap to cutting-edge technologies. This is necessary to support distance education, provide access to specialized medical diagnostics, emergency messaging, and security, improve digital literacy skills at all levels, utilize the great potential of artificial intelligence, paying due regard to the need for ethical content, creation, and usage, more effectively integrate the use of digital capabilities in the delivery of public services across the region, and support the region's drive for the necessary rollout of 5G and its continued evolution to improve and modernize operations in both the public sector and the private businesses. I wish you a very productive 55th Annual General Assembly and look forward to increased collaboration with the CBU and the regional media to advance the interests of the men, women, and young people of the Caribbean community. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, let's get one more round of applause for Dr. Barnett. And we hope you have also been enjoying your time back home. I don't know if you were a part of any of the excursions so far, but I mean, you know all of this, right? I also want to take an opportunity to recognize just some of the key points that you mentioned. I don't want to take time from our other guest speaker that will be coming on, but I do want to say that I appreciate you underscoring the impacts of climate change in the region, but of course highlighting an opportunity for us to partner with the media, for CARICOM to partner with the media as well. So I'm hoping that we all hold each other accountable after this opening ceremony as well. Now for our feature address for this event. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening we will also be graced with the esteemed presence of the Prime Minister of Belize, the Honorable John Briceño. Prime Minister Briceño is the 5th Prime Minister of Belize. In addition to his role as Prime Minister, he holds key responsibilities, including Minister of Finance, Economic Development, Investment, Civil Aviation, and Immigration, and he also has the responsibility of broadcasting. Previously, he served as Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Natural Resources and Environment. He is renowned for his leadership in the People's United Party and significant contribution to Belizean politics. Furthermore, he has played a pivotal role in environmental initiatives, demonstrating his commitment to the preservation of Belize's natural resources and sustainable development. Help me now, ladies and gentlemen, to invite to the podium to deliver the keynote address to our audience, the Prime Minister of Belize, the Honorable John Briceño.
Thank you very much for reminding me that I'm also in the media business. My brother and I started off way back in 1990 with buying over a small cable company, and a person here in the midst bought over a part of his operation. We're not going to mention name today, though. But good evening to everybody. It's certainly a privilege to have you all here. And Madam President, I did a quick research on you just now, and I noticed that you have not gotten into politics. Maybe you should consider it. You're pretty good. You know, it reminds you said, you know, a politician can predict the future and then afterwards explain why it never happened. So, but I must tell you, we have bragging rights in Belize. The largest living barrier reef in the world, the Blue Hole. There are 4 atolls in the Western Hemisphere. Belize has 4 of them. We have pristine jungle. We have the Mayan, the Mayan temples all over the the country. It was predicted at one time that we had about 1 million Mayans living, indigenous people living here in Belize. You want me to continue? We have one of the best jaguar reserves in the world. And I will stop right there just to finish about the issue of the melting pot. That Belize is indeed a melting pot of so many diverse groups. And the difference of Belize is that whenever any group comes to Belize, within a generation, they become a part of the country. I like to use this example of little kids from Central America, Savannah, El Salvador. At home, they're talking in Spanish. At school, they're talking on English, and in the streets, they're talking Creole. You can't tell the difference. And up north, it's where more of a Hispanic culture exists, and there the rancheras music is also quite prevalent. And no, I will not sing. I found out at an early age that I can't sing. I wanted to sing, but I decided better I stay in school. It was the best decision I made ever. But again, good evening, everybody. And certainly I want to welcome you all to the south, to scenic Placencia, a beautiful part of the country, almost as beautiful as my hometown, Orange Walk. That has nothing to do with tourism. It's about cane, about the sugar industry. As you all know, just a short walk from here. Yeah, it'll bring you to a small village of St. Bite, a picturesque Garifuna village, where we have our fisher folks still go out early in the morning. They jump on their little canoes and trying to search for some fresh fish. 12 miles down south is a thriving village, probably one of the wealthiest villages in the country, Placencia, a Creole Mecca, where the tourists come to walk along our pristine beaches and experience what has become, again, a melting pot of Creole, Maya, Garifuna, and now the North American culture. I always find the white people all over the place, especially when it's nice. I see Stuart one disappear. But he's Belizean, 100% Belizean. You have really, honestly, ladies and gentlemen, you all have really picked a good place to hold your 55th annual general meeting. And I'm glad to be here with you to celebrate your 55th general meeting here in Belize. As Secretary General Carla Bernard has mentioned, I'm Belizean. We here in Belize, we are deeply committed to the environmental sustainability and preservation. I'm pleased that you all decided to focus this year's meeting on such a critical issue, media and the environment. Today I will share with you some of the work of my government, the work that we're doing in the areas of conservation and preservation. As a government, we are deeply committed to safeguarding our natural heritage and promoting sustainable practices that will ensure the long-term healthy and viability of our environment. As journalists, I trust you have all done your research, and so you know that Belize is home to a rich diversity of ecosystems, including pristine rainforests, vibrant coral reefs, and abundant wildlife. Recognizing the importance of these natural resources, our government has implemented a range of initiatives to protect and preserve our environment for future generations. One of our key achievements has been the establishment of a network of protected areas that covers over 36% of our land and sea territory. These protected areas include national parks, marine reserves, and wildlife sanctuaries. They serve as vital shelters for endangered species and critical habitats. Of course, we have to ensure strong enforcement measures and community engagement to combat issues such as illegal logging, poaching, and unsustainable fishing practices that threaten our biodiversity. Because of our stewardship and recognizing the need to do more, we have partnered with international associations to put in place facilities to safeguard our natural resources, which we consider a crucial part of our natural patrimony. One such partnership resulted in what is seen across the world as an innovative way to address development and natural resource protection. The Belize Blue Bonds, a debt for nature swap, allowed us to reduce our external debt in exchange for conservation and protection. This resulted in important intrinsic benefits. One significant benefit was to avoid default and to meet debt obligations. Another major benefit was to place Belize as a credible leader in innovative approaches to private climate finance and conservation. Our government was able to leverage the success of the Belize Blue Bonds transaction to negotiate new deals for nature and climate financing. During this transaction, we managed to reduce a debt from over $500 million US dollars to $363 million US, and at the same time set up a trust fund with $20 million that we hope that by 2040 will be at $100 million US. And here is something else that's exciting. Government, along with its international partners, are co-designing a project finance for permanence for marine and coastal areas in Belize. By 2025, Resilient Bold Belize, that is what we are calling it, should raise about $80 million US dollars for conservation, effective management, and livelihood security. Belize, in its turn, I think is required to put, I think it's over $20 million to add to the $80 million US dollars for the PFP. Today, Belize continues to be a global leader in demonstrating its commitment in valuing nature and integrating nature into its economic plans for development. For us, a healthy coastal and marine environment is paramount. The core of our conservation commitment then is to deliver outcomes that benefit the Belizean people and nature through building what we now refer to as a nature-positive economy. Belize has also been a global leader in marine conservation, particularly in the protection of our barrier reef system. As the second largest barrier reef in the world, the Belize Barrier Reef is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a critical marine ecosystem. For many of you here tonight, this may be hopefully not your only opportunity to experience a vibrant living barrier reef. And I encourage you to make the time to go out and dive or snorkel the reef. For those who can, you should try to experience our great blue hole. As I mentioned earlier, Belize has 3 of the 4 atolls in the entire Western Hemisphere, so find the time to go to see what we believe is one of the great wonders of our beautiful planet. And if there are anybody that loves fly fishing, these are some of the best places in the world that you have for fly fishing. But I digress. So let me leave the tourism promotion to others, and let me get back on track. Carla, they laugh with that. Back on track. Stay on track. We just finished a political campaign where it says stay on track. And people did stay on track. I'm digressing. Please forgive me. I'm trying to get Stuart to laugh, but I laugh, man, Stuart. Much better. So, I put you up a video of Stuart. I accomplished something. I made Stuart laugh. It's not very difficult to do. But back again. Through partnerships with local stakeholders, with NGOs, and through international organizations, we have implemented measures to reduce pollution, regulate fishing activities, and enhance coral reef resilience in the face of climate change. For those of you, many of you, this year, I think it's something that, at least for the first time that I can remember, where we had these heat waves coming through Central America. And it was horrible. I don't know if in the Caribbean it was as bad, but it was really bad here in Central America. And for the very first time, we had massive forest fires that we have never experienced before. We'd have some of them out in the mountain parage, but in this instance, we had some massive forest fires up in the down south, in the indigenous area, where we do a lot of slash and burn. And especially when it's very, very hot, the wood is already extremely dry. And so in many instances, those fires used to get out of control. And we had to send the BDF and the police. Everybody had to go down south to try to see how we could control these areas. Thankfully, there was no loss of life. And I think probably maybe 1 or 2 homes were lost, but a lot of crops and seeds for our indigenous people was burnt during that time. And so it's something that we have never experienced, and I hope that it is not going to be something that's going to happen in the years to come. It got so hot that the wires from BL, they got so hot that they burst out in flames. So we were having a lot of blackouts in many instances, and some of it is of no fault of BTL. It's simply BL, but it's simply because of the changes of climate change, and makes us start to realize of what is to come if we can't turn things around. So, in addition to our protected areas, Belize has also taken significant steps to promote sustainable tourism and responsible development. Our government has implemented regulations to ensure that tourism activities are conducted in an environmentally friendly manner, minimizing impacts on sensitive ecosystems and wildlife. For instance, for too long, Belizeans felt that mangroves, are a waste of time. We have, it brings a lot of sandflies, and we need to get rid of it so we could have a good look at the view of the sea. But now more and more than ever, Belizeans are realizing how important it is to protect these mangroves. They protect the coastline, they protect against erosion. It creates a vibrant marine ecosystem. And Belizeans are starting to now realize why is it's so important for us to be able to protect these ecosystems. And so by promoting these eco-friendly practices and supporting community-based tourism initiatives, we are striving to balance conservation with economic growth. Our government is also committed to addressing climate change through the promotion of renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, and climate-smart policies. By investing in clean energy projects, promoting forest conservation, and enhancing climate resilience in vulnerable communities, we are working to mitigate the impacts of climate change and build a more sustainable future for all Belizeans. I'm extremely proud of the progress we in Belize have made in the areas of conservation and preservation. And I wish I could take that credit all by myself, but it is something that has happened decades ago, and that here we are now today, where Belizeans can really, truly feel and appreciate the importance of conservation and preservation. But of course, there's still much work to be done. And I must say that we have done it not all by ourselves, but with the help of our local and international partners who share our commitment to this cause. For this reason, we invite all stakeholders, including you, the media, civil society, and private sector, to continue to partner and join us in our efforts to protect and preserve our environment. Together, we can ensure that Belize remains a beacon of biodiversity and sustainability for generations to come, and by extension, the Caribbean. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I took the time to go through this tonight because I want you to know what we have done and continue to undertake in the pursuit of the preservation of our diverse and fragile ecosystem. I say this to you because you have the ability to shape public awareness and understanding of the environmental challenges we face across the Caribbean. This, my friends, is not an overstatement. Each of you have in recent years witnessed and reported on the devastating impacts of climate change, hurricanes, deforestation, pollution, and the loss of biodiversity on our fragile ecosystems. The Caribbean region, with its rich biodiversity and vulnerable coastal communities, is particularly at risk. You must then, as broadcasters and media professionals, use your platforms to raise awareness about these pressing issues and advocate for sustainable solutions. From highlighting the impacts of plastic pollution on our oceans to showcasing innovative renewable energy projects, the media plays a crucial role in shaping public opinion and driving positive change. By amplifying the voices of environmental activists, scientists, and policymakers, we can foster a greater sense of urgency and collectively, responsibly towards protecting our planet for future generations. My challenge to you as you go about your work is to commit to using the power of the media to promote environmental stewardship, sustainable development, and climate resilience across the Caribbean. I am sure I speak for leaders across our region when I say that we are ready to collaborate with you. We want to share best practices and leverage our collective influence to drive meaningful action on behalf of our environment. Distinguished guests, including our esteemed Secretary General, ladies and gentlemen, and yes, friends, the CBU is crucial to our efforts to highlight development challenges shared by the small island development states. You who have been on the front lines know our susceptibility to natural disasters, to vulnerability, and to external shocks. You know all too well our region's excessive dependence on international trade, our fragile environments, and increasing anthropogenic change. We need your assistance to give voice to the daily challenges we in the Caribbean face and the urgent need for the developed world to assist. I wish you a most impactful conference. I challenge you to harness your skills and talents for the betterment of our environment and our shared future. Muchas gracias y que disfruten su estancia en Belize, which means please enjoy your stay here in Belize. And the girlfriend is what? Sorry, May? Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Prime Minister of Belize, Honorable John Bersenio, and also thank you. You know, PM really had some shameless advertising of where you guys should visit, really focusing on his area that he's from too. But I have to say, apart from that, I really appreciated that you focused also on the things that we are doing and the way that we are leading the change in climate change. So I'm hoping that we can continue along that path and of course use our media platforms, as you said, to continue to share and inspire other regions to do their part as well, because we often highlight when we go to these conference of the parties is that it's these large emitting countries and regions that are doing all of the damage, and then of course the small island developing nations are the ones paying the price. Example, Hurricane Beryl, having a hurricane of that magnitude so early in the hurricane season as well. All right, well, as we continue to provide you with snippets of our very rich culture this evening, I know you guys enjoyed them at the start of the ceremony, so we want to have the attention back on Los Hijos del West, and as I mentioned, they come all the way from Benque Viejo del Carmen, which is about 3 hours away from Belize City. So ladies and gentlemen, please, Los Hijos del West. That was lovely. Again, that was Los Hijos del West, coming from Benque Viejo del Carmen, but actually they just came back from Mexico yesterday. They were, of course, using their talent and sharing just a bit of Belize's culture in Mexico as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the presentation of the President's Award and the introduction and the induction of the Hall of Fame awardee. Dr. Livingston White, a senior lecturer and former director of the Caribbean School of Media and Communications, CARIMAC, at the University of the West Indies Mona campus, will be guiding us through this segment of the evening's program. With over 25 years of experience as a consultant and conducting research and training for various local and regional Caribbean-based development and government agencies, including the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, SEDEMA, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, Turks and Caicos Islands Government, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness in Jamaica. Dr. White is well versed in this field. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Livingston White to the podium to lead us through this part of the program.
Thank you, Ms. Daly. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Caribbean Broadcasting Union's President's Award is made in recognition of an individual or institution's contribution to the work of the CBU as an organization and to its members. To be considered for this award, nominees must support the core aspects of the mandate of the CBU, including, but not limited to, project funding, access to technical expertise, capacity building, policy formulation. We also consider the impact and duration of the contribution to the CBU and its members. Ladies and gentlemen, the CBU President's Award for 2024 goes to the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center. We now invite Marlene Cuellar to read the citation for the awardee. Marlene Cuellar is CEO of Great Belize Productions Limited. She's also a director on the CBU board and chair of the local organizing committee of this year's General Assembly. Director Cuellar.
Good night, everyone. And that was a great surprise. Congratulations to the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center. The formation of the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, CCCCC, we say 5 C's for short, is described as a partnership success story by its initial principals and associates. Conceptualized in 2001 and established by the CARICOM heads of government in 2002, the 5 C's coordinates CARICOM's response to climate change and efforts to manage and adapt to projected impacts. In September 2002, following the approval of its establishment, Belize was selected as the host country. Planning and operationalizing of 5 C's commenced the following year in 2003 with the appointment of an interim director, and by July 2005, the organization was formally declared open with a skeletal staff of just 5 people. Today, the center boasts a staff complement of 75, most of whom are stationed at the headquarters in Belmopan City, Belize. A small number of project staff are also located across CARICOM member states. To help member states respond to climate change impacts, the 5 C's provides core services that fall into 3 broad categories: CARICOM climate change negotiations, climate data for evidence-based decision-making, and climate resilience building activities. The 5 C's has demonstrated strong leadership in project implementation, and its expertise, experience, and strong performance in helping CARICOM member states pursue climate resilient development allows it to scale up the mobilization of climate finance and implement innovative and sustainable solutions to improve the lives of the people across the Caribbean. At the same time, It takes pride in its successful strategic partnerships with key institutions and organizations in the regional and global arena. Throughout its lifetime, but particularly in the last decade, 5Cs has recognized the inherent value of partnerships with regional media sector. Not simply in an instrumental way of using media organizations to issue its messages to desired audiences, but also in building the capacity of media professionals and institutions. The partnership with the Caribbean Broadcasting Union was formalized in 2018, and 5Cs made an impactful contribution to the CBU Assembly that year in Kingston, Jamaica. The significant expansion of the collaboration came in 2022 when 5Cs engaged with CBU in a multi-pronged partnership of in-person media sensitization, public outreach, and the introduction of multimedia categories in the 2022 Caribbean Media Awards. The finale of the media sensitization was carefully planned to align with the CBU Assembly in August 2023. When more than a dozen journalists and producers from around the region were invited to a high-level sensitization session coordinated by the 5Cs under the Intra-ACP GCCA Plus project, Enhancing Climate Resilience in CARIFORUM Countries. This phase of the partnership culminated in the awards gala addressed by the 5Cs Executive Director, Dr. Colin Young, which was beamed and streamed to an audience in the English, Dutch, and Spanish Caribbean. Because of the foresight of the organization, media professionals who had been exposed to the technical experts as well as the impacts of climate change for the people of the region were able to accept their rewards in person. Recognizing the high return on the investment in media capacity building, in 2024, 5Cs once again linked arms with the CBU in incentivizing coverage of this critical development theme to support for categories in the NGC 35th CBU Caribbean Media Awards to be presented in the home country of Belize. To enhance the capacity built and expand the knowledge base, once again, nominated entrants in the Caribbean Change categories were brought together with high-level expertise to grapple with the concepts and impacts of climate change in a workshop conducted in 5C's headquarter country in Belize in August of 2024. That was today. Nearing its 20-year anniversary, the 5C's is poised more than ever to carry out its mandate to coordinate CARICOM's response to climate change, thanks to the continual support of its partners worldwide, among which the CBU is proud to be numbered. For its appreciation of the value of partnership with the region's media and for its sterling efforts to build capacity to ensure public awareness and effective action to address climate change, 5Cs is highly deserving recipient of the CBU 2024 President's Award.
Thank you, Director Marlene. We invite CARICOM Secretary General, Dr. Barnett, to present the award, which will be received by Executive Director of 5Cs, Dr. Colin Young. We also have CBU President joining, Dr. Claire Grant. After all, it's a President's Award. Thank you, Dr. Barnett. Thank you, Dr. Grant. And Dr. Young, your response? You have to say thank you. Yes.
Apparently, one of the things that the CBU is very good at is keeping secrets. Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable John Briceño, SG, Dr. Grant, members of the CBU, the Board of Directors, other members of the National Assembly, journalists, ladies and gentlemen, this is an absolute delightful surprise. I did not expect this at all. And apparently Marlene have somebody in the 5 Cs from which she was able to gather quite a bit of information. I think one of the things that Steve Jobs said, sometimes you can't connect the dots going backwards. You could only you can't connect the dots going forward. You could only do that going backwards. And sitting in the front row here is the Prime Minister, who will tell you that had it not been for his efforts and that of the then Prime Minister, Said Musa, who was able to work with the CARICOM leaders and particularly the Prime Minister of Barbados, the 5 Cs would not have been hosted in Belize. So Prime Minister, thank you very much for your efforts. And now almost 20 years later, we are about to celebrate the 20th anniversary of a CARICOM institution that was, in a sense, hosted in Belize because of the efforts of the current Prime Minister. The 5 Cs has, as Marlene said, been quite instrumental in helping to build climate resilience, but we recognize as well that there's a massive gap in the public's understanding of climate change and the effects of climate change. And we have a responsibility to help to change knowledge, attitudes, and practices of people to become more resilient to the effects of climate change that the UN has now called the single greatest threat to humanity, and to what the Prime Minister and the SG and Prime Ministers and Presidents all across the Caribbean refer to as an existential threat to our way of life. And we do so through strategic partnerships. And it is because of these strategic partnerships that we've been successful. To date, the 5 Cs, by the way, is a self-funded institution. It is one of 2 CARICOM institutions that does not receive subventions from member states. But to date, we have mobilized and invested over $250 million across CARICOM in building climate resilience. We manage a portfolio today of $168 million in 12 countries, and we have a pipeline of projects that we hope to get funded within the next 2 to 3 years of $500 million that we're mobilizing to build climate resilience across the region. We hope to showcase our achievements next year at the 20th anniversary of the 5 Cs. But I'm here at this wonderful surprise because I want to thank and congratulate the CBU, who we are planning to hitch, I think you said linked arms, Marlene, for quite a while, because you are an indispensable partner, Dr. Grant, you and your team, in reaching almost 5 million people across the region. There's no other entity that has the expertise, that has the reputation, that has the reach, that has the know-how, stories told by us for us, than the CBU. And linking arms with you over the last, since 2018, but particularly over the last 2 years, is paying rich dividends by encouraging our journalists, our media professionals in print, in media, in digital, in TV, in radio, in showcasing the plight of our people, the effects that climate change are having on our lives and our livelihood, the injustice that is being caused on our people by those who are responsible for causing climate change. Your role is absolutely indispensable. You have to let us, to allow us to have you tell this story in a way that touches not just our lives and our hearts, but that pushes those who are most responsible to do more and do more faster. So thank you to the CBU. We are committed, as long as I'm at the 5 Cs, to have this event of having climate team awards every year. So that's for the journalists in the room and those listening by streaming to get your stories ready for next year as well. So once again, on behalf of our board of directors and all my staff at the 5 Cs who do a tremendous job in serving our countries, at the end of the day, I like to say we do this because lives and livelihoods are at stake. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you for this award. We sincerely appreciate it.
Congratulations to Dr. Young and his team at the 5 Cs. And now, the 2024 CBU Hall of Fame induction. On behalf of the chair of the CBU's Hall of Fame selection panel, Shida Balai, former CBU president, I am pleased, as deputy chair, to present the 2024 Hall of Fame inductee. Our 5-member selection panel also included Gary Allen, Group Senior Executive, Corporate and External Affairs, RJR Gleaner Communications Group, Jamaica, inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2022 and CBU past president. Guna Kuman, former manager ATV Telesur Suriname and former member of the CBU board, and Carletta Olivier, former CEO NBC Radio St. Vincent and the Grenadines and former member of the CBU board. To be eligible for the induction into the Caribbean Hall of Fame, the candidate must have attained outstanding achievements accumulated over a period of 20 or more years in categories related to service to media. These categories include presentation, production, engineering, marketing, or general management at the national, regional, or international levels. Other categories include policy formulation, planning and research to refine media practice in the region, and advocacy to advance the cause of Caribbean media. This year, the Hall of Fame selection panel recognizes Oliver Clark as the 2024 Hall of Fame inductee. To read the citation, please welcome former president of the CBU, former CEO of Great Belize Productions Limited, and CBU Hall of Fame awardee 2011, Mr. Stuart Crone.
Thank you very much. Before reading the citation, I can't help but make a few short remarks. The first concerns our last honoree, Dr. Colin Young. I know the theme of this conference is media and the environment, and although most of us in this room would know Colin as Dr. Young, if we go back about 40 years, one of our earliest television productions at what was not yet Channel 5, but was called Great Belize Productions, for a show that we did called Belize All Over, it was a feature on the community baboon sanctuary. This was a protected area that was pioneered by Colin's father, the late Fallet Young. But the star of the show was none other than a 10-year-old Colin Young, whose smile back then was just as big as the smile you saw displayed here. So Colin, he has all the academic credentials, but we know that from his upbringing, his heart was in the environment from before he was 10 years old. So congratulations again, Colin. And to follow up on a theme that the Prime Minister opened with, although I am not a conspiracy theorist, I want to know why they chose the Belizean white man to read the citation for the Jamaican white man. Perhaps it's a coincidence, perhaps not. Anyway, with your financial prowess and strong business instincts, you turned around the fortunes of the grand dame of Caribbean print media, the Gleaner Company, establishing it as a financially strong organization, now celebrating its 190th anniversary and boasting the accolade of being the longest continuing publication in the Americas. Under your stewardship, the organization expanded to morning and afternoon publications in Jamaica, as well as in Canada, the United States of America, and the United Kingdom. It established 2 radio stations, as well as smaller publishing entities contributing to youth media literacy through products such as Children's Own, YouthLink, and a joint venture, A+ Learning. You and the late Lester Spalding were the 2 architects of the amalgamation of the Gleaner and the RJR Communications Group to form the RJR Gleaner Communications Group in 2016, succeeding Spalding as its second chairman in 2018. But most of all, you are known at home and abroad for your commitment to press freedom. In the late 1970s, spurred by efforts of the government of the day to bring pressure on the Gleaner to influence editorial policy or indeed to close the company, you launched a campaign to protect the free press, which you regarded as a critical pillar of democracy. Recalling that the Gleaners' membership of the Inter-American Press Association and of the Commonwealth Press Association stood us in good ground, you maintained a dominant presence in both international press organizations and were eventually elected president of the IAPA. In the late 1990s, as president of IAPA, you led the lobby to get Caribbean governments to sign on to the Declaration of Chapultepec, which sets out 10 fundamental principles of press freedom. As a champion for increased transparency and accountability, you were instrumental in the enactment of Jamaica's access to information laws. You were also in the forefront of advocacy for changing the defamation laws in Jamaica, traveling the country with members of the Hugh Small Committee appointed to review Jamaica's libel laws, which were eventually amended in 2009. Among the amendments were key provisions you championed for many years, including the abolition of criminal libel, the establishment of a wire service defense, and having a jury decide guilt or innocence in a defamation matter, but the judge determined the more complex issue of the quantum of damages to be awarded. Your giant influence and media advocacy were felt around the region, supporting the Caribbean News Agency, CANA, and adding the Gleaner as a key member. You eventually went on to become CANA chairman, as well as a director of the Caribbean Media Corporation. You also offered tangible and moral support to fellow publishers across the region. You will be long remembered for your publishing peers for taking on the Maurice Bishop-led People's Revolutionary Government of Grenada after it shut down several private newspapers and jailed journalist Alistair Hughes. In 1996, you were one of the 4-member team of Caribbean media leaders to stage an intervention when the Basdeo Panday government launched a campaign against the Trinidad Guardian, demanding the firing of its editor-in-chief. Until the end of your career at home and abroad, you stood firm in fostering democratic governance, prosperity, and social equity through your fierce advocacy for press freedom in the Americas. The CBU is honored to celebrate this career and legacy by your well-deserved induction into the Caribbean Media Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Mr. Crone. To present this year's award for our inductee, we invite Prime Minister of Belize, Honorable John Bresenio. The award will be received on behalf of the awardee's family by Dr. Claire Grant in her capacity as Deputy CEO of the RJR Gleaner Communications Group at the family's request. A round of applause. Thank you, Prime Minister and Dr. Grant. Ladies and gentlemen, a final round of applause for our President's Award recipient, the 5 C's and 2024 Hall of Fame inductee, Oliver Clark. Over to you, Ms. Daly.
Thank you, Dr. White. At this time, I invite the Vice President of the Caribbean Broadcasting Union, Richard Purcell, to deliver the closing remarks.
Good evening, everybody. I'll be short. We are running late. And of course, you know, of course, in television, time is money. So, Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. John Briceño, Dr. Carla Barnett, CARICOM Secretary General, President, my President, distinguished guests, members of the media, I'm sure you all will agree with me that this brief delay is worth it, as I take the opportunity on behalf of the CBU to express appreciation for all those who made this evening's event the success it has been. I begin by thanking our keynote speaker, the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. John Briceño, and may I call you fellow broadcaster, for his address, which has set the tone for serious and relevant discussions for the remainder of the Assembly. The entire Office of the Prime Minister has been very supportive to the CBU also. I also extend thanks to the guest speaker, CARICOM Secretary General, Dr. Carla Barnett, for her charge to this grouping. We will give appropriate consideration to your address. Further, we wish to thank the sponsors of the Assembly. These include Utelsat, the local sponsors, Belize Tourism Board, Belize Sugar Industry, ASR, Fortis Belize Limited, Belize Broadcasting Authority, Belize Airport Authority, Public Utilities Commission, and the Government of Belize. And someone often forgotten in the appreciation list is our event hosts. We wish to express sincere thanks to Ms. Sabrina Daly, our MC. I think she did an excellent job. And last but not least, I take this opportunity to thank the local organizing committee led by the indefatigable chair, Ms. Malini Quillar, and fellow director of the CBU. Malini, you and your team did an excellent job, excellent. And we look forward to the rest of the AGA. The rest of the team includes Ms. Edith Gohona, Mr. Mark Chaveria of Belize Broadcasting Authority, and Ms. Yolani Kokam. Through efficient and effective planning and implementation, that team has made it possible for us to enjoy the excellent start to what we know will be yet another standout CBU assembly. And although I said previously last but not least, I have saved another last, but certainly not least, our very own hard-working Secretary General, Sonia Gill. Affectionately called Field Marshal Gill. I don't know how affectionate that could be, but her work resumes as soon as we leave Belize, as she begins planning with Director Green and his LOC for the next AGA. Well, let me not say where it will be. That's a surprise that's coming up. But, so thank you, Field Marshal Gill. And thank you all, and please join us at the poolside reception. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Purcell. All right. Have you guys been enjoying this evening's opening ceremony? Yes? What was your favorite part? I imagine there was a lot of really good bits, but I think this one might be one of your favorite because as we mentioned, we will be giving you guys a bit of cultural experiences throughout the show, and we have done. So we took you to the west, we took you down south, and Ernestine is gonna take you probably to Carnival, maybe in September. As she mentioned, she is known as Belize's soca queen. So our final performance tonight will be from Miss Ernestine Carballo.
Thank you, Miss Sabrina. Good night once again. I'm delighted to close off with one of my originals. It's called On the Road, and it won the Carnival March Song of 2018, so you can check it out on YouTube. Guess where you find come Carnival Day? Behind a big truck in the party, and I will be jumping Carnival Day. We no care who talking about way. 'Cause I know what is my mission in life. It comes from this time, and I will fulfill all of my destiny in a carnival life. On the road, on the road, on the road, on the road again. That's where you will find me and my soca friends. On the road, on the road, on the road, on the road again. We don't care who talking about way. On the road, on the road, on the road, on the road again. That's where you will find me and my soca friends. On the road, on the road, on the road, on the road again. Partying from start all the way till the end. Listen now, it's time of the year again. They shouted me name again. They want me to lead the parade. They want me to mash up the stage. They say there is none like you that can tell me what to do. After three going back. 1, 2, 3, and push, push, push it back, right back, push it back, push, push, push it back, right back, push it back, push, push, push it back, right back, 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 back. That's where you find me come Carnival Day. In our line, push it front, push it front, push it front. That's where you find me come Carnival Day. In our line, bounce it down, bounce it down, bounce it down. 'Cause I know what is my mission in life when it comes round this time, and I will fulfill all of my destiny. All carnival lovers, all my beautiful Caribbean people. On the road, on the road, on the road. We don't care who talking. When we on the road, we don't care who talk, right? That's what will find me. Put your hands up in the air on the road, on the road, on the road, on the road. Put up your hands, put up the flag. It's time of the year again. They shouted me name again. They want me to lead the parade. They want me to. They say there is none like you. We're gonna push it back one more time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and push. Right back, right back. Push. Right back, right back. Push. Push it back, push it back, push it back, push it back, 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 back. Thank you all, and enjoy our beautiful country Belize.
Thank you, Ernestine. Ernestine, I want to have the trust that you do. You really knew how to gauge, to push it back enough not to push it back off the stage. I need that type of faith. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, we are winding down in the show, so we have come to the juncture of where we will be taking that official photograph. So we will be inviting to the stage Prime Minister, CARICOM Secretary General, CBU members, and award recipients. Please come to the stage for your official photograph.